Well now, that was a little disappointing if you ask me. Hey, what's up and how's it going, all MRBers? Well, I'm so glad that you have took your time to watch this video right here today on the Mick Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. I'm your co-host, Mike Mick Rock Wilson, and last night was NXT from the Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. And the show started with The Ascension, the tag team champions, taking on these guys in basically a jobber squash match. And overall, this show was not a good show. Case in point, there were a lot of short matches on the show. And that was one of them. What happened was the Ascension went over in this match, and for some reason, the fans at Full Sail were interacting a little bit more. It almost seemed like they were getting behind the Ascension, which is not the direction these tag teams should go in, because they're heels. They should not get that reaction where the fans start to get behind them. So what they need to do is basically give the Ascension a credible tag team. And with that said, the NXT tag team division on NXT really feels really diminished, and there's no tag teams, there's no competition for the Ascension. And with all that said, basically the tag team division needs a reboot. If this freaking thing works. But yeah, you get what I mean. The tag team division needs to be rebooted, needs to be rejuvenated, and bring some more tag teams on NXT in order for the Ascension to look more credible as the tag team champions, because right now it just feels like those belts have been thrown on them. So something needs to happen, like I said, with the tag team division on NXT. Moving on, we saw a couple of clips of Sylvester Lefort. Basically looking for a new client. This guy comes in and basically tells Sylvester why he should pick him, and he points out about his ears being all funny and awkward, and it was, a little interesting, I thought. And then later on, we saw Mason Ryan come in, and there's a little bit of a feud going on between the two of them. And basically what happened was that Mason Ryan challenged Sylvester to a match, and if Sylvester beats Mason Ryan, then Mason Ryan will work for Sylvester Lefort. So at least, NXT leaves something open, and that's what I like about NXT, is that somehow they managed to leave something open to make you interested into watching next week's episode. So even though it's only a small little story, it's still something, because NXT needs to, be that show that makes sure you want to tune in to next week's show to see what happens. And they done an okay job, with that, the whole Mason Ryan and Sylvester Lefort, as well as the contract signing, which I'll get to later on this review. And also, we saw a backstage segment with Antonio Cesaro, and basically giving us his explanation to why he said no. And basically, he said that he doesn't owe Sami Zayn any more matches because he already bet him. So it kind of made logical sense to what Antonio Cesaro was saying, why he said no. It was a really good explanation. But when we saw Sami Zayn's reaction to Antonio Cesaro, he said that he should have said no to his face. Really? What happened was that Antonio Cesaro did say no to Sami Zayn's face. He went up to his face and he said no. And so Sami Zayn's rebuttal backstage really lacked common sense because Antonio Cesaro actually did say no to his face, so I'm curious why Sami Zayn said something that did not make sense whatsoever. That was just weird. But anyway, moving on, we saw a match between Corey Graves. He's back, going one-on-one with Camacho. I like Corey Graves' new attire. The only issue I have with Corey Graves is that when he cut that promo before the match, he basically said to stay tuned, and it really lacked emotion. He still needs to work on his talking in order to come across as a better heel. And basically what this was a short match as well. Camacho actually looks good. He gained a few pounds, and he performed well in the ring, but not to the full potential. To me, this was, again, another short match, like the first match. So what happened was that Corey Graves got the win with a submission hold, and I don't know where Corey Graves goes from here. What's there for Corey Graves on NXT? So really they should give him something more. Weeks to come on NXT, so we'll see what happens with Corey Graves. Also, we saw Sasha Banks go one-on-one with Bayley, and this is one of the two matches where I kind of did enjoy. Basically, what happened was that Bayley won the match with her finishing maneuver. She had Natalya in her corner, and Sasha Banks had their two BFFs. It's great to see Charlotte back, as well as Summer Rae in her corner. And what happened was that in the beginning of the match, we saw Bayley go after Charlotte when she was outside the ring trying to attack her. It made sense because Charlotte turned on Bayley when Bayley didn't expect it, so it kind of felt very real when Bayley started off the match. She wasn't focused on Sasha Banks. She was focused on the person that attacked her, that she thought was her friend. So it made sense for Bayley to do something like that when it comes to the psychology work in the ring. And overall, this match, it was a decent match. It wasn't, a outstanding 5-star classic Divas match, but it was still pretty good. I like Sasha Banks. I think she's a very underrated diva, and I like how she worked the match using a submission hold throughout, and Bayley came back and got the win with a finisher, belly to Bayley. And the fans, it seems like, when you have, the good guys that are outnumbered, the crowd gets behind them more. I like that idea throughout that match, and that's basically what happened. The fans love Bayley. You can't help but love Bayley. She's a lovable character, so I like what they were doing with the Divas on this week's show. It was pretty interesting. Also on the show, we saw Tyler Breeze go one-on-one with Colin Cassidy, and I thought this was an entertaining match. What happened was that we saw Tyler Breeze kind of stalling the first few seconds of the match while he was taking selfies outside the ring, and then after that, Colin Cassidy done his impersonation of Tyler Breeze, taking someone's phone from the audience and taking selfies of himself and strutting back and forth outside the ring, and the fans were chanting, "This was awesome," and not a punch was thrown as the announcers were calling the match. So I thought that, that part of the match was pretty entertaining. And what happened was that Colin Cassidy was working this match. I like when he delivers a boot. It feels like a 7-foot-tall giant delivering a boot. It looks pretty good. It's not a Luke Harper kind of boot where he kind of takes your head off, but it's something, that feels, like a boot like Test would do, only it's more of an in-your-face kind of style. So I like how, the big guys do big moves like a big boot. I think that the Colin Cassidy's moveset looks legit for his size, and that's one of the things I enjoy about Colin Cassidy. And basically after that, we saw the artiste Aiden English show up on the screen, and was about to trap Enzo Amore because Enzo Amore is still in the wheelchair. and basically the door closed, and you get the idea of what's happening. And Colin Cassidy watches that on screen, and then turns around and sees the beauty shot that Tyler Breeze's latest finishing maneuver, and Tyler Breeze gets the victory in the match. Overall, I thought that was a decent, entertaining match where Tyler Breeze basically looked good after the match, as well as Colin Cassidy as well, because he's now being involved in a feud with the artiste Aiden English, and I like how they're utilizing Aiden English as a heel, and now he's getting the right reaction with the NXT fans on the show. We also saw CJ Parker go one-on-one with The Miz, and my question is, what bizarro booking world did I wake up in? Here's the thing. You have The Miz. You don't know week after week after week if he's going to be a heel or babyface, etc., etc. It's kind of weird to see The Miz act as a babyface throughout that match, and it's not a good way for Tyler Breeze to go over as a babyface if you want to look at it that way, because CJ Parker, not Tyler Breeze, CJ Parker. CJ Parker, where he's a guy that the fans just don't know how to react, and basically what this was a lackluster, very short match where The Miz got over, and I thought, it was just not all that good. The booking wasn't that great because both guys feel like they're not getting the right response from the fans. So why should I even care about this match? I thought it was just not all that great. I did like a little bit of the in-ring work from The Miz. They actually utilize him a lot better on NXT than what they do in WWE, with the fans' response to the side. But when you put all that together, you have two guys that just doesn't resonate with the fans as either heels or baby faces, so this match really overall was a lackluster. Also, the main event was the contract signing. What happened was that Adrian Neville came out, he signed the contract, and basically telling Bo Dallas that I'm just sick and tired of you, come out here and sign the contract. Bo Dallas came out, and he said that he will sign the contract on his terms. And what happened was that he was actually doing pretty good on the microphone. That's basically what happened. I thought that Bo Dallas was a lot more believable. He didn't have that girly voice that he usually portrays himself as, as he's a heel. So in a way, he was a lot better than I thought in a lot of past weeks, watching Bo Dallas on the show. He felt a little bit more intense. He had that certain look on his face where he was just, being the heel, that he's getting the right response on this show. And what happened was that we also had a match afterwards, and it was just a very short jobber squash match with Danny Burch, where Bo Dallas went over. It just felt awkward the way that it ended with the that double underhook DDT. I thought that was a little off, I think, because the fans kind of didn't expect how that match ended. So it really lacked the response, and it really lacked, the I guess build to this jobber squash match, or whatever you want to call it. But what I do like is that after the match happened, he basically told Andrew Neville, I will sign the contract. And after that, we saw Bo Dallas take a cheap shot on Adrian Neville, and then he was about to leave, and then Adrian Neville suicide dived on Bo Dallas, and basically punching him on the ground. And the announcers kind of, to me, lacked emotion. To me, they could have put a lot more effort into the build-up between Bo Dallas and Adrian Neville. And a contract signing is not the most original way to go. You know, they could have done something a lot better, putting more effort into the build-up with this match, because this is a marquee match for NXT. You want to become more excited to be engaged in this rivalry with Adrian Neville and Bo Dallas. And to me, the announcers lacked the emotion. They could have put a lot more effort into it, as well as more effort into building up this rivalry between these guys. And like I said, a contract signing is not the most fresh way to go, but at least it's something. But overall, I thought this show was just not all that great. There were a couple of decent matches on the show, but like I said, overall, I give it probably a 5 out of 10. So what did you think? If you saw NXT last night, what did you think of the show? Comment below and let me know. And while you're at it, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Comment, rate, subscribe on our videos. You can also follow MRB Wrestling on Twitter and like Make Rock and Bolt Wrestling Reviews on Facebook. And that was my review of NXT from the Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. And to all you viewers watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.